Hello, boys and girls. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome, as always, to the Joy of Piping. And welcome again to yet another Sunday pipe meditation. This is a pipe from Dan Knopp, Lucky Pipes. It's a red and black Cumberland stem, Rhodesian type shape, beautiful bird's eye on the top here. I do plan on doing a kind of a walkthrough of my pipe collection at some point, so I will then give you a close-up of this. And I had him make this for me as a wedding gift to myself. And in it I am smoking some Dunhill Elizabethan mixture. It's a fun story about Elizabethan mixtures. I bought a tin of it like 5 or 6 years ago to try. I opened it to smell it, and left it sitting on the kitchen table overnight. Closed, of course. I mean, I closed the tin back, set it on the kitchen table. The next day, I went to sit out and make a video. And when I opened up the tin, it was molded. And I was kind of disappointed because I'd heard so many good things about it it was from Bradley at Stuffin' Things. He had said so many good things about Elizabethan mixture that I wanted to give it a shot. Of course, I get this moldy tin, so I called smokingpipes.com. I told them what happened. They did not have any more in stock. I think it had just come back out. From what I recall, there were a few Dunhill blends that were not available. It was like Ye Olde Sign, the 3-year matured Virginia, and the Elizabethan mixture. And they had just come back out, so they were constantly selling out. When I called and told them the issue, they said no problem, and then called me back and said we don't actually have any Elizabethan mixture. So I took it as a credit and forgot all about it. The other day, Thursday it was, I was watching a video. What the heck was I watching? Oh, I was watching Stuffin' Things. Duh. We were just talking about that. I was watching Bradley, and he was doing his Revisited series where he goes back and kind of re-reviews tobacco he's already smoked and given a review on. And he was touching on Peterson Irish Flake. In true Joy of Piping fashion, this is a very roundabout tale. I watched the review and said, God, I think I need to get some Irish Flake. I had just thrown out what was left of my Irish Flake because it had molded because of a failed mason jar top. And that was actually a collection of 2 different tins of Irish Flake. It was a tin that had been aged for like 7 or 8 years, and then a tin that was maybe 2 years old. And I found that if you do what I call faux aging, where you take, it works really, really well with Escudo and any flake tobacco, really. If you take some older tobacco, put it on the bottom, and put the newer tobacco on top, it kind of imparts some of the essence and gives it, if this is a 10-year-old blend and a 1-year-old, the same blend, you kind of get it to where that newer blend tastes like it's 6, 7, 8 years old. It borrows some of the essence of the older tobacco. Now, it really only works once or twice, so you can kind of faux age some tobacco, and then you kind of have to put some new old tobacco in there to do it. Some fresh old tobacco. Let's not say new old tobacco. That doesn't make any sense. I tell you what, that bird, whoever that bird is, he is out here every day, and he raises a racket in the front of the house and in the back of the house every day. I appreciate that. So, point of the story is this. I watch Bradley's review. I say, I need to get me some Peterson Irish Flake. Dunhill Irish Flake, back it up. Okay, what I meant was Peterson Irish Flake, and now Peterson makes Dunhill's Elizabethan mixture. You understood what I was saying. I say I need to get some Irish flake. I go on to Smoking Pipes, and while I'm looking around, I see in the corner another video that pops up is Bradley's review on Elizabethan mixture. Now, I've heard many good things about Elizabethan mixture from him. He's called it kind of his meat and potatoes blend. Something that he smokes every day. Now that I've got a chance to try it, I can see why. I could definitely see smoking this tobacco every day. But we're getting off course here. I order the Irish flake, and then I figure, you know what, let me give it a second shot. Let's hope that nothing bad happens. So I throw a tin of Elizabethan into the mix because it is a little more expensive than Irish flake is. Thankfully, I live in North Carolina, which I'm only about 3-hour ride away from. Sorry, I got distracted. The Cardinal and his girlfriend just flew by. They do that quite a bit when I'm sitting back here. I'm only about a 3-hour ride away from where SmokingPipes.com is located. So I ordered, and I think I ordered it Thursday morning, and it showed up Saturday morning. And I cracked it just before I came out here, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. I could see why Bradley has this as an everyday smoke. I could definitely see this as a continual everyday smoke. And that in his revisited episode on Irish Flake, he was mentioning how it is good as a breakfast because it does have some substantial weight to it. There's a lot of flavor. There's a lot of nicotine. There's a big kick, and it does go exceptionally well with coffee. This one, while it does not have the same nicotine kick, I do get a lot of enjoyable flavor, and it does go very well with coffee. So Bradley, I don't know if you're a subscriber or not, but if you happen to see this, I appreciate you doing that revisited episode on Peterson Irish Flake because it solved two problems for me. It got me more Irish Flake, and it also found me another blend that I can enjoy that I will probably be stocking up on. That's something that I'm preparing to do as well is I have gone through my huge Tupperware bin of tobacco because it's one huge Tupperware bin and then 2 garbage bags just chock full of tins of tobacco. And there are a lot of things in there that I have tried and didn't like. For example, the special edition of Squadron Leader. I have several tins from the 2018 release or the 2017, 16, whatever. God, I don't remember what year it was now. Oh shit, I don't remember. Whatever it was, I've got the last 2 releases I bought tins from. I bought a couple from the first and a whole bunch from this most recent release, which is probably a year ago at this point. And I didn't like it. I really didn't. I bought a whole bunch of it assuming that I already liked pretty much every other Samuel Gauth blend that I tried. The Perique does not go very well in that blend for me. I just did not enjoy it. And I'm usually pretty good at narrowing things down after one bowl. If I smoke a single bowl of a blend and I'm not liking something about it, then I typically will dismiss it. Most times I'll go back and try it 2 or 3 or 4 more times. This one I could not even stomach doing a second smoke. I just don't like it. Now I kept a tin, the open tin. I have it sitting somewhere where I can access it, and I am keeping it moist to see if it's an age issue. But to be honest with you, I think I need to just go ahead and get rid of all that excess tobacco. And there are some other things I did go through a period where I was collecting aged tobacco. So I've got a Virginia flake that's labeled A.C. Peterson. They don't make anymore. They haven't made in a number of years, and it is 20-something years old now. and I will open that eventually. But I have a thing for Virginia flakes, especially aged ones, and I've said this many, many times in the past. And I went through a period there where I collected aged tobaccos left and right. So I have a huge collection of that, and then I have big, larger amounts, big sections of the collection that are specific to one blend. So I've got, 10 tins of Special Latakia Flake because it's hard to come by. I've got about as much Stonehaven and Penzance as I can get my hands on because they're hard to come by. I've got things like Full Virginia Flake because sometimes it's very difficult to get a lot of it, and it tastes very good when it's aged. I have a metric ton of Mississippi River and Plum Pudding, and then I have some of the special editions where they had those aged Virginias that they added in there. And it's because they're really good tobaccos. They're things that I enjoy. So rather than wasting my time just continually trying other things, I think I'd rather just get rid of the things I don't like and stick to the things that I do. I'm a man of simple tastes. Let's put it this way. When we go out to dinner, my wife likes to experiment a lot. She'll try something new. Oh, this sounds good, doesn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it does sound good. But I'm still going to order something that I know I'm going to like, because that's my judge of the restaurant. Because if it's good, I will come back and try something else. But the difference is that for me, I'm very rarely disappointed in my dinner. If I order something, I don't really have bad experiences where I'm like, oh, this was gross. And, I feel dissatisfied. I might be full or I might not be full, and I have to go get something else because I didn't want to eat it. So I very rarely have those experiences, and for me, that's a good thing. I think that makes things more enjoyable for me. I am, as J.R.R. Tolkien says, I have such a hard time saying J.R.R. Tolkien. It is, I really have to concentrate on that one. For those of you who don't know, as a kid, I had a terrible lisp and a pretty bad stutter, and it was very hard to overcome. I spent a lot of time working on enunciation and pronunciation to try and make sure that I say things the right way, and sometimes my brain gets just a little bit ahead of me, and if I'm not prepared to say J.R.R. Tolkien, I have a hard time with it. It comes out as a big mess. So, as Mr. Tolkien said, I am a hobbit in all but size. And I agree with that heartily. I enjoy a good smoke, which I'm sure the fine hobbits of Hobbiton would love some Elizabethan mixture. I love a good beer, I love coffee, I love food, but I like simple food. There's no point in going over the top. I always think about the pub experience, where I've heard of these kind of old style pubs where they would serve, mince pie, cold meats, cheeses, bread, butter, ale. That sounds like a good time to me. Especially a good aged cheese. Holy cow. Good slice of, a good cut of chicken, juicy chicken, good steak. I like shrimp. I can talk about food all day. Shrimp stew, shrimp soup, shrimp gumbo, shrimp and potatoes, boil it, bake it, saute it. It's for all you Forrest Gump fans out there. I do like very much the stem work that Dan did on this pipe, because it's got such a tiny little button on it. But it almost feels like I'm afraid to clench it. Like, I try not to. And I can see that I've put a hurting on this thing already. I've got to really start looking into. The only reason I don't use those things here is I just don't want. Like, this is how the pipe was meant to look. It gets mojo from me smoking it, from me handling it, from me biting on it. I'm very sorry if you can hear my stomach growling right now. There's a microphone right here, and I'm kind of curious whether or not you'd be able to hear my stomach growling, but it is complaining because it's got to be 8 o'clock, and I have not put any food in it. So, with that being said, I almost forgot. I think I find that when I do these Sunday pipe meditations that I inevitably talk about nature, and I thought I would share this with you. I had the good fortune of from last Sunday evening until this morning, I've experienced 2 double rainbows. Last Sunday evening, my wife and I went out for ice cream, and when we got downtown, I was standing in a line. There was a light rain falling. I mentioned yesterday in my 8 questions for quarantine video that we had had a ton of rain here lately. And what typically happens during the spring is that, this is April and May, things will turn to thunderstorms for a little while, and typically we'll get a lot of sun showers where the thunderstorm will be moving through very quickly, and at the tail end we'll get a sun shower. The sun will come back out, it'll still be lightly raining, and then we get this massive rainbow. Well, Sunday evening I saw one where the clouds were so dark behind it that it actually appeared 3D. Well, it is 3D technically, but it appeared to be popping out at me, and it was so vivid and vibrant that I was just kind of shocked to see how bright it was. And unfortunately, I am one of those people that believes you don't need to take a photograph of everything. I like to rely on memory, because the special memories are the ones that you will remember. So there are things that, I remember our wedding day very clearly. I remember our first date very clearly, my wife and I. I remember my dog, my first dog. I remember the day that Suki came home, the day that Ringo that came home, the day we bought this house. And then I remember things like those rainbows. And the second one was Friday night. So I went to go pick us up some dinner, and there was a light rain falling. And when I stood in the parking lot where the Chinese restaurant was, where I was picking up dinner from, you could see the entirety of it. And it was, again, a double rainbow. And I don't know what it is. Ever since that double rainbow guy, may he rest in peace, came onto YouTube, and that video went viral, I've seen nothing but double rainbows. So I don't know if he, maybe his declaration of surprise and enjoyment, which I can understand, wholly understand, maybe that's what activated these double rainbows to come to life more often. But I have seen nothing but double rainbows since then. So I felt like it was necessary to share my little bit of nature love with you for this weekend. Now, this bowl is getting on towards the end. That's something I enjoy about this pipe, is that for as large as the bowl looks, it's actually not that big. I can generally fit one entire flake in here, which makes it perfect for flake tobacco, and that's what I typically smoke in here. But I love to look at this pipe, and I just happened to come across it, and I thought it would be perfect to enjoy this morning. Well, guys, speaking of nature, about 5 feet behind the camera, there is a dove that just came and landed, and he's marching through my yard, probably looking for worms. So let's do it as he's doing, and enjoy the rest of the morning. And until next week, hope you guys enjoy your smokes. We'll see you on the next Sunday Pipe Meditation.